You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. Imagine that sentence landing like a key turning in a lock, a simple shift that changes how you aim your attention, how you shape your nervous system, and how you actually move through the possibilities available to you. Over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the one principle that makes manifesting reliable enough to be a practice, not a wish list. Framed as if Seth were explaining this from the vantage point of identity work and energetic clarity, this is a practical, science-friendly roadmap: how the field responds to your state, how attention functions as a creative instrument, and the exact actions you can take right now to tune into the life you want without forcing, hustling, or pretending. If this already resonates, pause for a second and download the free 7-day Mind Hack Guide linked below. It's a short set of daily prompts that will help you begin aligning your identity with what you want to attract. Now stay with me. The heart of the method comes next. There is a single organizing principle here. The universe, call it the quantum field, the unified field, or the energetic matrix, doesn't respond to wish lists or clever affirmations in isolation. It responds to the signal you are broadcasting with your entire system, your thoughts, feelings, posture, habitual attention, and nervous system state. In other words, you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. Say that to yourself once more. It's the thread we pull through every idea that follows. Truth 1. The field is real enough to be useful. Explanation. Think of reality as a kind of invisible medium that links everything, a field of tendencies, information, and potential. This isn't a mystical claim of supernatural power. It's a working model that helps you understand why inner states tend to produce similar outer results. When you habitually hold fear, scarcity, or indecision, you are broadcasting a low-coherent, noisy signal. When you steady your attention in calm clarity and confidence, you broadcast a coherent signal that organizes possibilities around that pattern. Metaphor, scientific touchpoint. Imagine the flower of life pattern, overlapping circles that form a harmonic geometry. The field behaves like that pattern, underlying relationships and resonances that favor certain arrangements of experience. Scientists use terms like unified field or quantum field to describe a foundation where particles and forces are not separate. Spiritual teachers use images like sacred geometry to point to the same idea from a different vocabulary. Treat both as complementary metaphors pointing at a responsive medium, not as literal proof that one proves the other. Micro exercise. Check your baseline state right now. Take 2 full breaths and notice the first honest word that comes up to describe how you feel. Anxious, curious, hungry, open. Write it down. For the next 60 seconds, hold that word in mind and scan your body. Where do you feel it? Tightness in the jaw? A flutter in the stomach? Expansion across the chest? This simple inventory is the first step toward becoming the signal you actually want to transmit. Truth 2. Attention collapses possibilities. Explanation. The act of attention is not neutral. Your focus doesn't merely observe a scene, it selects from among many potential trajectories. When you habitually focus on lack, your attention repeatedly collapses possibilities into outcomes that reflect that orientation. Conversely, when you direct attention with steady intention toward a chosen possibility, you begin to favor those pathways. This is not mystical causation guaranteed by a single glance. It's the practical reality of how repeated attention shapes perception, decision-making, and the cascade of actions that follow. Metaphor/scientific touchpoint. Recall the classic double-slit experiment, first illuminated by Thomas Young's demonstration of light's wave nature, and later re-examined in quantum contexts. Scientists observed that under certain conditions, light and particles display interference patterns, and when measurement or observation is introduced, those patterns shift. Some interpret this to mean that observation affects outcomes. Others emphasize that observation in physics is highly technical and debated. Use this carefully as an analogy. Attention behaves like a selective instrument that changes what pattern gets emphasized, not as a magical claim that your thoughts directly force electrons to behave. It's an invitation to respect focus as creative. Micro exercise. A 30-second focus practice. Choose a single small object in your immediate environment. Look at it for 30 seconds without narrating. Count each breath silently while maintaining visual attention. If your mind wanders, gently return. Notice how sustained, non-judgmental attention alters your perception of the object. The point is to feel attention as a tool, not as a captive of thought. Truth 3. Superposition. Multiple versions of you already exist. Explanation.
Before you act, many possible versions of your life are in play. Some versions embody abundance, health, or courage. Others embody avoidance, scarcity, or doubt. Manifestation is not about creating something from nothing, but about tuning into one of those existing possibilities. The work becomes choose which frequency of self you will inhabit, and then align your body, mind, and behavior to that frequency. Metaphor/scientific touchpoint. Picture a radio dial with dozens of stations. Each station corresponds to a version of you. You are not inventing a station out of thin air. You are learning how to tune. The concept of superposition in quantum theory, where multiple states coexist until measured, is useful as a metaphor. Possibility exists. The act of identifying and inhabiting a state favors one outcome among many.
Again, scientists differ on literal interpretations, but the metaphor is powerful for practice. Micro-exercise, identity question prompt. Write down 3 short statements, each beginning with, "There is a version of me who," and finish them in the present tense. For example, there is a version of me who is consistently healthy. There is a version of me who negotiates with calm confidence. There is a version of me who wakes up excited to create. Don't try to believe them yet, just name them. Naming raises a possibility into awareness. It becomes a station you can try tuning into. Truth 4. Coherence. Align heart, mind, and nervous system. Explanation. The field responds most readily to coherent signals. Coherence is the alignment between what you think, what you feel, and how your body registers those states. When your mind says I can, but your body trembles with fear, the signal is mixed and weak. Coherent states create stronger, clearer patterns that the attention-influenced field can respond to. This is why embodiment practices, breath, posture, emotional regulation, are not optional. They are the technology of tuning. Metaphor/scientific touchpoint. Consider a choir singing in harmony. If each voice is slightly out of tune, the song is thin and uncertain. When voices align, the resonance is powerful and carries. Neuroscience names part of this process. The reticular activating system, or RAS, functions as a gatekeeper that filters sensory input according to what's salient to you. When you adopt a coherent identity, your nervous system starts flagging different information, opportunities, helpful people, relevant ideas that previously escaped notice. Micro-exercise, 1-minute coherence drill. Place one hand lightly over the heart and one hand on your belly. Breathe slowly for 1 minute, aiming for longer exhales. As you breathe, recall a small, genuine moment of appreciation, a taste you enjoyed, a compliment, a brief triumph. Hold that feeling gently and notice how your body shifts. This state is the carrier wave you want to practice producing deliberately. Truth 5. Decision is the practical switch. Explanation. Decision is the bridge between potential and habit. A decision is not merely a mental wish, it's an energetic and behavioral declaration. When you decide with clarity, emotion, and embodied commitment, your nervous system reconfigures towards detecting and enabling that decision. Decision reduces internal ambivalence, and reduced ambivalence clears bandwidth for inspired action. This is the operative lever. Decide who you are, then live from that decision. Metaphor/scientific touchpoint. Think of decision as pressing save on a file. Before you save, add its float. After you save, the system treats that version as current. Neuroscience supports this through attention-driven selection and habit formation. When you decide, you prime your RAS to notice steps that align with that choice. Neville Goddard emphasized the interiority of decision long before neuroscience mapped the RAS. Consider both as allies rather than opponents. Micro-exercise, a short decision prompt. Pick one area where you've been indecisive for weeks. It could be an exercise habit, starting a project, or how you respond to a relationship issue. State a tiny, non-dramatic decision. I decide to write for 15 minutes every morning, or I decide to call and ask for clarification by Thursday. Make it realistic and commit to a measurable next action. Putting it together. Decide, align, act. Explanation. The model is simple and deliberately sequential. Decide who you are. Align your heart, mind, and body to that decision, then take inspired action. Decision sets direction. Coherence sets signal strength. Action converts momentum into tangible change. This sequence is not rigid ritual. It's a practical cycle you can run multiple times a day. Small redecisions matter far more than one cathartic ceremony followed by neglect. Practical steps. The day-to-day playbook. 1. Identity decision. In a sentence, state who you are as if it were already true. Keep it brief. I am a person who ships work consistently, or I am someone who prioritizes calm and clarity. Write it and read it aloud once. 2. Immediate embodiment. Apply the 1-minute coherence drill. Stay with the sensation of decision for 60 seconds. 3. RAS notice. List 3 small things you will notice today that would signal this identity. An email you might write, a person you'd approach, a tiny behavior change. 4. Inspired action. Pick one micro step that feels energized rather than forced. A 10-minute call, a paragraph written, a gentle walk to clear thinking. Take that step within the hour.
5. Reflection loop. At the end of the day, note what aligned and what contradicted your decision. Make a single adjustment for tomorrow. A short story of shift. There was a woman named Maya who ran a small design studio. She wanted bigger clients, but found herself operating like a freelancer who pretended to be an agency. Small talk, small contracts, small results. She tried affirmations, hustle, and expensive coaching with inconsistent effects. What finally changed for her was a simple, decisive reframe. She wrote, "I am the founder of a studio that attracts strategic brand partners." Not because she had all the clients yet, but because she recognized a version of herself already operating in that way. She practiced the 1-minute coherence drill every morning, not to pretend but to embody steadier nervous system signals. She adjusted her email signature, her website wording, and the questions she asked prospects. Those were small physical choices consistent with her decision. She also committed to one inspired action each week, a targeted outreach or a proposal rewrite. Within 3 months, her attention and RAS began surfacing different opportunities.
The people who matched that frequency appeared more often, and she felt less like she was chasing and more like she was recognizing invitations that fit. This was not magic. It was an energetic and behavioral recalibration that produced different inputs and therefore different outputs. Guided micro-exercise, the identity tuning practice. Close your eyes if that's comfortable. Breathe deliberately. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for a brief beat, exhale for 6 counts. Do this 3 times to slow your system. Now bring to mind the version of you that already has what you're aiming for. Don't imagine riches or a flashy scene. Imagine the felt sense. How does that you rise in the morning? What mood colors your day? What small choices does that person habitually make? Place your hands over your chest and belly. Take 2 breaths, and on the 3rd, state aloud a compact decision in the present tense. I am a person who. Finish the sentence with one short phrase. Speak it once, slowly, as if introducing yourself to someone important. Listen to the tone in your voice. Are you tentative or steady? Now notice one small physical action that would make the decision real today. It can be a phone call, a short email, a 10-minute sketch, a single minute of focused outreach. Commit to doing that action within the next hour. Finally, open your eyes and take that step. No ritual required beyond the action. This exercise combines decision, embodiment, and immediate action. Practice it daily as a calibration rather than a one-time fix. The effect compounds. Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Confusing wishful thinking for decision. A wish is a hope. A decision has a next step attached and feels embodied. Whenever your intent feels airy, add a micro-action. Using affirmations as denial. Repeating phrases that your nervous system cannot accept often creates internal resistance. If you say, "I am wealthy," but your body bristles, start with a bridge statement. I am becoming the person who manages resources wisely. Then incrementally upgrade the identity as coherence grows. Mistaking busyness for inspired action. Hustle without alignment produces noise, not signal. Before committing to a big push, ask, does this energize me? Does it align with my embodied decision? Overinterpreting random events as causation. Confirmation bias will surface. You'll notice hits and ignore misses. Keep reflective logs to discern patterns rather than falling in love with anecdotes. A short neuroscience note. The RAS in practice. The reticular activating system is the brain's filter. When you decide, your RAS tunes to relevant stimuli. It flags opportunities, patterns, and people that match your orientation. This doesn't mean the universe conspires. It means your perception system changes what it considers noteworthy. Use this by setting clear, embodied priorities and scanning your day for small confirmations. Then follow up on them. How to use this model without misapplying quantum. Be thoughtful about language. Saying quantum can sound like a shortcut to supernatural claims. Use it as an enriching metaphor. Modern physics shows us that at a fundamental level, reality is stranger and less separate than everyday intuition suggests. That invites humility and curiosity, not grandiose guarantees. Anchor all claims in practice. Decision, coherence, and action. These are accessible no matter your background. A practical 7-day starter cycle. Day 1. Decide. Write one present tense identity sentence and perform the 1-minute coherence drill twice. Day 2. Tune attention. Do the 30-second focus practice 3 times and name 3 things you'd notice if your decision were true. Day 3. Embody. Walk for 10 minutes in a way that matches your decision. Posture, pace, and breathing. Day 4. Micro-action. Take one inspired step and record the results. Day 5. Scale the signal. Adjust one environment cue, email signature, profile headline, workspace, to reflect your decision. Day 6. Reflect. Journal about what changed in your perception and opportunities. Day 7. Reaffirm. Restate your decision, increase coherence time to 2 minutes, and plan 3 micro-actions for the next week. Repeat the cycle as needed.
The goal is competence, not perfection. When to seek deeper support. Some shifts require more than solo practice. If you notice entrenched fear patterns, trauma responses, or medical conditions affecting your nervous system, integrate therapeutic support with these practices. The principle remains the same, but professional guidance can help you recalibrate your system safely and sustainably. Why this works, a short recap. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. The field is not a magic vending machine. It's a responsive medium that favors coherent signals. Attention directs which possibilities become prioritized. Many versions of you exist as potential stations. Tuning is the work of practice. Coherence between heart, mind, and body strengthens your signal. Decision is the practical switch that says, this is the version I will inhabit. And action, particularly inspired and small, turns potential into momentum. Final story to close the loop. A small cafe owner named Luis wanted to transform his shop into a beloved neighborhood hub, not because he coveted success, but because he loved the craft and wanted it to matter. He could have rebranded, bought equipment, aggressive promoted, and waited. Instead, Luis made one interior decision. I am the owner of a place where people feel seen. He shifted his posture towards patrons, listened more intentionally, and trained his team to notice small preferences. He also committed to one inspired action a week, a community night, a local artist showcase, an intentionally curated playlist. Over time, different customers showed up. Collaborations formed that weren't obvious before. It wasn't overnight magic.
It was a sequence of decision, coherence, and action that altered what the Raz of his community noticed, and therefore what opportunities came his way. A final invitation and call to action. If you want to deepen this practice, I invite you to explore the extended training linked below, where we walk through month-long practices, embodiment protocols, and practical templates to build a coherent signal that attracts aligned opportunities. The program is designed to help you convert decision into daily systems without falling back into hustle. Enrollment details are in the description, and there's a limited bonus for early registrants. Remember, you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. Repeat it until it becomes a check. When faced with a choice, ask whether the next move builds your signal or undermines it. Decide clearly, embody consistently, and act with inspired, measurable steps. The field will respond to the signal you become.